Boruto fans have spent 3 years waiting for Kawaki to admit he stole Boruto's life, and apparently Ikemoto decided that therapy's way too expensive, so he gave this man some puzzles instead, because hidden inside of Kawaki's newly revealed hobbies is a character detail that looks completely innocent until you remember what Kawaki actually did before the time skip. The guy living inside of Boruto's stolen identity is now obsessed with putting pieces together where they belong and finding the differences between two things that look almost identical. And the more you understand Kawaki's character, the harder it becomes to believe that Ikemoto chose these hobbies by accident. Which, spoiler, he didn't think of this by accident. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, takes a look at the new information that we have that gives us confirmation that even Kawaki knows he has crossed the line with omnipotence, but he has gone too far in order to openly admit it. But the guilt is now showing itself. The other videos that we've done covering the other information that we have from the new issue of V-Jump magazine that dumped a lot of lore for Boruto will be linked in the description box in case any of you guys missed it. So during Boruto's 1 month break this month, Mikio Ikemoto has been giving fans quite a bit of new information to chew on while you wait for the next Boruto Two Blue Vortex chapter in September. Some of this came to us directly from the new Q&A material, but another interesting source has been the updated character information that gives additional details about the cast. And to be clear, this is something that manga authors have been doing forever, so this is not Ikemoto doing something new or cutting corners. There are certain pieces of information that even if this was a weekly manga, it would not make it onto the manga pages due to pacing reasons, especially in Weekly Shonen Jump where you get voted every single week. That table of contents ranking, that is determined by fan votes. And this is especially true for monthly manga like Boruto. You have a limited number of pages that are assigned to you that the magazine gives you, and you have to advance the plot, develop characters, establish fights, set up conflict, and etc. You can't exactly go from one major tension moment to showing what Kawaki does on a random Sunday afternoon, which is exactly why character profiles and data books and story guides have always been used as supplemental guides to give us more information like this. And if you have a smart team that is doing the anime adaptation, they'll pull these information from these said guides in order to make their quote filler episodes that aren't really filler instead of random episodes that nobody cares for. What seems like meaningless information when you look beneath the surface ends up being something of substance or humorous if you pick up on the jokes. It's like Mitsuki and Orochimaru. They both love eggs. Both are patterned after snakes. That makes sense. Snakes eat eggs. And both of them hate foods that have scales for the same reason. Snakes have scales. With Kawaki, he falls into the former category, where it is substance hidden in plain sight. While everyone is focused on his updated info that confirms that he is 2 years older than Boruto, it's his interests that have sent up the major red flag. During the time skip after Kawaki stole Boruto's life, Kawaki developed an obsession with puzzles and spot the difference games, and he gets extremely competitive when he plays them. On the surface, you go, oh, that's cute. The kid who never had a childhood finally gets to be a kid. But that's where you take a step back and you look at it from the author perspective and you ask the questions that are very fundamental to every story that you're ever going to break down. Why and what? Why is he obsessed with the puzzles? And why is he obsessed with spot the difference games? And what is the author trying to convey to us here? Because there is clear intent here. When it comes to Ikemoto, the approach to the subtle things like this, it is similar to what you will see with a classic novelist. Just as we said in 2023 when time skip designs are being shown that Ikemoto was using the clothes of the characters to tell the story of the character, and Ikemoto himself later reveals it 2 years later, the same extends when it comes to Kawaki. Just as he said, Kawaki's clothes were bought by Ada, but he doesn't take care of them, and we see his clothes increasingly get tattered without there ever being a sign that they've been fixed. It is a sign of Kawaki's lack of value of his own worth. The same is true when it comes to hobbies. Again, on the surface level, you go, oh, he went from obsessed with the 7 Hokage to furious somebody put together a 1,000-piece puzzle before him, and you'll call it character development. That's fine. The thing is that when we take a step back and look at it, Kawaki being obsessed with puzzles isn't new symbolism. It's an evolution of old symbolism. This is going to make going back and rereading Boruto Part 1 and whenever Part 2 is finished, reading everything in one sit down together, it's going to make it so much of an enjoyable read. Just as rereading Boruto Part 1 from start to finish puts so much more into perspective. So go all the way back to the first part of Boruto and remember the vase. When Kawaki first arrived in Naruto's home, he accidentally broke Himawari's vase. Kawaki became obsessed with repairing the original vase, piece by piece, fragment by fragment. He searched for the broken pieces and painstakingly tried to reconstruct what he had destroyed. He got upset when it looked like a piece was missing, but Himawari basically said she loved it anyway. It was poetic by Ikemoto. She loved the vase in spite of its imperfections, just as the Uzumaki family was growing to love Kawaki in spite of his imperfections. The vase was a stand-in for Kawaki. Kawaki entered Naruto's home as somebody who was broken into pieces. His biological father, he abused him. Jigen purchased him. Kara experimented on him. His body was modified by Amato. His identity was reduced to just being a vessel. Kawaki had spent most of his childhood being taught that his only value came from what somebody could use him for. Then he meets Naruto, then he meets Himawari, then he meets Boruto. For arguably the first time in his life, Kawaki experiences what an actual family is supposed to feel like. So when he breaks something belonging to Himawari, simply buying her another vase, it isn't enough. Kawaki was obsessed with trying to fix the vase that he broke, because symbolically, Kawaki is beginning to believe that broken things can be repaired. That includes himself. That is why one tiny missing piece mattered so much. So after Kawaki's desires ultimately became reality and Omnipotence swapped the lives of Boruto and Kawaki, this new obsession became a huge red flag. It came after he realized what happened and used it as an opportunity to make it easier to kill Boruto. Yet, as early as chapter 3 of Two Blue Vortex, we see signs of his guilt when he tells Himawari, "How many times do I have to tell you not to call me that?" when she calls him Big Brother, because her memory's been altered. Meaning he's done it several times before, meaning there has been guilt beneath the surface that we haven't seen, but it has creeped out. Those jigsaw puzzles and the spot the difference games, they are him subconsciously dealing with all that he's done and living with that guilt. The irony is that the spot the difference games is that it builds on what we know that happened. People for a time did spot the difference. Sarada almost convinced people, your memory doesn't match reality. Why is Naruto's son a cyborg? Why does Naruto's son have Ishiki's chakra and not Momoshiki's chakra? Suddenly, Kawaki's now obsessed with spot the difference games. You have to wonder if that was a subconscious way of dealing with it. The puzzle makes even more sense. Kawaki knows this world is fake. Everyone's memories are fake, yet it all makes sense to them. Every piece of the puzzle they are given by someone like Sarada, they discard. But Kawaki's the one picking up the puzzle pieces and putting them together for the completed picture that shows that he is a fraud. He knows he's a fraud. Someone like Damon, who lives in that house with Kawaki, knows it too, which is why he has said in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, "I can't wait for all this to backfire on you." Putting together puzzle pieces in a world where people convince themselves that pieces that don't fit together are completely fine, it is good character writing. It is a good use of contrast. It's a story within a story. The spot the difference game is a reflection of his life post-omnipotence being the spot the difference game. The puzzle pieces, they are the same thing, because Kawaki's entire existence after omnipotence has been one enormous spot the difference game. From a writing perspective, it's so brilliant and interesting. A good author understands how to use psychology. Hobbies are not necessarily random. People often gravitate towards hobbies that satisfy an emotional or a cognitive need. Like, I personally love lifting weights and training heavy. That makes sense when you realize that as a kid, I had to get in a lot of fights because I was that kid that liked comics, I like manga, I like anime. All that shit was considered weird for the time. It makes sense when, being blunt, I started lifting weights and focusing on transforming my body because it gave me better chances at getting, at the time, girls that I liked and now women that I am attracted to. Is it vain? Absolutely. Are there health benefits to having muscle? Absolutely. But I am honest enough to say I have no shame. The same with why I work so much. I remember staying up late at night, unable to sleep because I had no idea how I was going to pay all the bills I had, despite working 2 jobs and having side gigs. I don't ever want to go back to that way of life. So I take the Mike Guy approach, outwork everyone, take no days off, and I chase delayed payoff. I say that to say this. When you understand how someone thinks, you understand the meaning behind their hobbies. A good author knows how to do that and how to do it well. A trained reader knows how to pick up on those things when consuming a story. A trained reader doesn't need that spoon-fed for them. That's why you'll hear me say everything that you're taught in high school, middle school about storytelling, where most people's comprehension on what a story is start, middle, climax, resolution, and end. That is not the true depths of storytelling. To be blunt and to be crude, that is basic bitch style writing. Just like you see a basic bitch everywhere you go if you touch grass. You go into a Starbucks, you see one. You go into a bookstore, you see one. But a true 10 out of 10 requires getting out there a little bit more. It's the same with the understanding of the nuances of storytelling. Horizons have to be expanded. Side note to the 10% of my viewers that are female on this channel, I'm not using the B word like that out of sexism or anything like that. Just throwing that clarifier out there. I know some of you guys have kind of reached out to me in the past and said like, hey, I took offense to you using that word that way. So just want to kind of throw that out there. So a good writer knows our interests can be used to reflect how our minds prefer to process the world. Someone who feels overwhelmed by uncertainty might enjoy activities with clear rules or solutions. Someone whose life feels chaotic might find satisfaction in organizing, building, and completing something. In Kawaki's case, puzzles provide something missing in real life, the correct answer. With a puzzle, every piece has a proper place. It fits or it doesn't fit. Ironic given the state of the world post-Omnipotence, but that is the beauty of what Ikemoto did here. The same with the Spot the Difference games. 2 similar images, but there are contradictions. Some of them are obvious and others require closer attention to detail, just as the pattern holds with those who broke free of omnipotence and realized their memories were all scrambled. They locked in on the smaller details and they hung on to them. It is a reflection of guilt for Kawaki, and with guilt, it's not as simple as someone saying, I feel guilty. Again, that is basic bitch style writing. A good writer knows how to have someone say they feel guilty through their behavior. Words are not needed. That's where the reveal about Kawaki's hobbies become important. It's a reveal of guilt, which is something that was already hinted at more than once in Two Blue Vortex. The one thing that this is one of the few things that I would not mind if the anime expanded. For a monthly manga, even a weekly manga, it's not really going to fit given all the pieces we have to establish. And it's not like what Kishimoto did with Shikamaru, where you could see him using the shogi game as a way to show how Shikamaru's mind worked when it came to combat strategy, or how when Asuma died, Shikamaru was smoking from Asuma's pack strategically until it finally ran out when he killed Hidan, and the last cigarette that he smokes in the manga was the one that created Asuma's ghost, which the anime completely changes that. That's why that happens in the manga. That was something you could do for that one arc, and it worked as a narrative anchor. For Kawaki, with how Two Blue Vortex has gone, you can't really show this right now. Simply because the payoff for Omnipotence, it is going to be so far down the line in the manga. But with an anime, throwing in extra scenes like this, that is fine given the medium of anime, because what is only 5 to 10 seconds in the anime would end up being 2 to 3 pages in the manga. That could have been given to push something else forward. Page time in manga is precious. Unless there is a very clear payoff, like with Kawaki and that vase, you don't devote an entire chapter to it. With Kawaki's guilt in the manga, this extra insight does make rereading more interesting now, and the lines like Himawari's line, they stand out more now. Same with Boruto being asked by Kawaki, why didn't you snitch on me, when he had the chance. Kawaki knows he's guilty. part of him wants to be punished for being guilty. Whether by Naruto, who he told, "You can kill me after I kill Boruto," he wants to be punished. Or whether it be by Boruto exposing him, he wants to be punished. Which is why Boruto has to be the one that shows him dealing with guilt doesn't always mean punishment, like Kara taught him. Sometimes dealing with guilt simply means forgiveness. Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking on the left to check out this Naruto Explained video, or clicking on the right to check out this video that YouTube says you would definitely enjoy watching.